All right, we're about to do a super high-speed review of AP biology, and we're going to do it by building the entire story of life, right from the simplest molecules all the way up to the complex ecosystems that cover our planet. So, let's kick things off with the most basic question of all.
At the molecular level, they're not that different. But one is alive and one isn't. So what's the secret sauce? To find out, we're not just going to study life. We are going to build it from the ground up, using the fundamental rules of biology as our guide.
Every story's got a beginning, right? And the story of life, well, it begins with chemistry. The main character here is the element carbon. Its incredible ability to form four stable bonds makes it the perfect molecular backbone for building the big, complex structures that life completely depends on.
Now, from carbon, we can build life's four essential Legos, the macromolecules. First up, we've got carbohydrates for a quick energy boost. Then there are lipids for long-term energy storage and building membranes. Then you've got proteins. These are the versatile workhorses doing everything from acting as enzymes to providing structure. And finally, you have nucleic acids. That's your DNA and RNA, which carry the genetic instructions to build literally everything else.
Okay, so we have our Legos. What do we build first? We build the fundamental unit of life itself, the cell. The best way to think about it is like a tiny, bustling factory, with all these different departments working together to keep the whole operation running.
So, inside this factory, every little department, or as we call it, organelle, has a specific job. The nucleus, that's the CEO's office, protecting those precious DNA blueprints. The ribosomes are the assembly lines, reading copies of the blueprints to build proteins. The mitochondria are the power plants, generating ATP, which is the energy currency of the cell. And the ER and Golgi apparatus, they act as the shipping department, modifying and packaging those proteins so they can be sent where they need to go.
You know, these cellular factories, they actually come in two main models. You've got the simpler prokaryotes, like bacteria, which are kind of like an open-plan workshop. And then you have the eukaryotes. That's what we're made of, where every job is neatly separated in its own organelle. This separation allows for so much more complexity and specialization, a total game changer in the evolution of life.
A factory is pretty useless without power, right? So how does the cell pay its energy bills? Well, it's part of a global energy economy that's all about capturing, storing, and spending energy.
The whole process kicks off with photosynthesis, which is basically the cell making a deposit at the energy bank. Plants and other producers use these little things called chloroplasts to capture sunlight, and they convert that light energy into chemical energy, storing it away in the bonds of glucose molecules. It's the ultimate solar power system.
And then, of course, comes cellular respiration. That's like making an energy withdrawal. The cell breaks down glucose in a series of steps to produce ATP. You should think of ATP as the cell's rechargeable battery. It's the universal power source for absolutely everything the cell needs to do.
Okay, so our factory's built, it's powered up. But how does it know what to do? It follows a master blueprint. This is the genetic information that not only directs all the factory's operations, but can also be copied and passed down through generations. This flow of information has a pretty famous name, the central dogma of molecular biology. Basically, the permanent master blueprint, DNA, is kept safe inside the nucleus. A temporary work-in copy, called RNA, is made through a process called transcription. That RNA copy then heads out to the ribosome assembly line, where it's read in a process called translation to build the final product, a protein. Simple as that.
But here's the really cool part. Passing this blueprint on isn't just about making perfect copies. Sexual reproduction uses a special process called meiosis, which creates sperm and eggs with only half the DNA. And critically, before the chromosomes get divided up, they swap sections in a process called crossing over. This constant shuffling of the genetic deck is one of the main engines of variation that natural selection gets to act on.
So, we've built a cell, we've powered it, and we've given instructions. Now, let's zoom all the way out. How do these fundamental systems, when they're repeated billions of times over billions of years, create the unbelievable diversity of life we see on a planetary scale? Well, the history of life isn't some smooth, steady line of progress. No way. It has been punctuated by massive, catastrophic events. Earth has seen at least 5 major mass extinctions, like the famous one that wiped out the non-avian dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Each one acted like a great reset button, clearing the board and creating brand new opportunities for the survivors to diversify and fill up empty ecological roles.
And through all of this, the building, the competition, the extinctions, one process has been the constant engine of change: natural selection.
It's a simple but incredibly powerful idea. In any given environment, individuals with traits that make them better at surviving and reproducing will on average just leave more offspring. So over generations, those beneficial traits become more and more common in the population.
So there you have it. What a journey. We started with just a handful of chemical Legos, built a self-sustaining cellular factory, and saw how it's all guided by a genetic blueprint that learns and adapts over time. We've seen how these simple rules, when they're repeated and scaled up over billions of years, give rise to the incredible complexity and wonder of the entire biosphere.
It's an absolutely incredible story of emergence, from simple chemistry all the way to complex consciousness. And it leaves us with one final thought. Seeing how life has constantly adapted, innovated, and rebuilt itself for nearly 4 billion years, what do you think it will build next?